Leads 101. So what I want to do is just quickly go over the main types of leads and just the basic stuff that it's important to understand about our leads so you have a good overview of what to tell clients and just having an understanding for yourself. So we have three main types of leads. We have semi-exclusive leads, exclusive leads, as well as aged leads. So let's start with a few points on semi-exclusive leads. These are shared with three other companies at the same time for a total of four. They're delivered in increments of 5, 10, 15, or 20 a day, and that can fluctuate based off of lead volume or client demand. So if we have a lot of clients and that just happens to be a lower volume week for leads, because that happens sometimes, leads fluctuate just like anything. Sometimes that could change a little bit. Of course, we want to get our clients as many leads a day. Another thing, there's sometimes cases where they'll need a weird amount of leads a day, like 3 leads or 7 leads. We can accommodate that if needed. We usually don't want to do that, but usually that's not the case. Usually that's maybe the case with about 10% of clients or less. Average close rates about 2 to 2.5%. So that's about 1 out of 40 to 1 out of 50. So one of the things you might deal with is, okay, well, 1 out of 40, 1 out of 50, that's only okay. But let me posit something to you here. What if you're paying $500 for 50 leads and you can close a deal out of that? Now, if you think about it, every single SEO client is usually paying monthly, and let's say they're even paying $500 a month. Now, if they're sticking around for 6 months, that's $3,000 to the client. A year, that's $6,000 to the client. Now, the best part of that is if they're giving it to somebody making $10, $12 an hour, making base plus bonuses, spiffs, or whatnot. When you look at the dollar in, dollar out relationship between that, semi-exclusive leads end up being a pretty good deal from not only a time vantage, but also an ROI vantage. So always remember that when you're answering questions related to this with clients, because we have lots of clients that buy semi-exclusives and they absolutely love it. So just like exclusives, these are 24 to 36 business hours fresh. We try to get them out even sooner than that, but 24 to 36 hours just to be on the safe side. The only exception to this is on Monday, leads might come in on a Saturday, and we don't send out leads on Saturday or Sunday, so they would go out on Monday. So that just ties back into the business hours. Main selling points. Speak with the most amount of fresh companies at the lowest volume cost. I think we already went over that, but if you're a company and you want to get in front of the most people and have the greatest amount of exposure to people that have said that they're interested in speaking with somebody, semi-exclusive leads can do a phenomenal job. Another thing is the low cost per acquisition on average, right? Now let's take this into an example. Let's suppose that we have a client that bought 100 semi-exclusive leads at a cost of $900, right? Because the more you order, the lower the cost goes down, and this is a huge selling point to remember. Okay? Now let's say they spent $900 and they closed 2.5%, which means they got on average 2.5 deals. If we divide 900 divided by 2.5, that means that they paid $360 to bring on a new client that's going to pay them anywhere on average $5,000 to $15,000 over a year. That's pretty good. I don't think if you're in 1990s Wall Street that you'd be getting returns that are as good, and you need to remind clients of that. Furthermore, once you scale up to 200 semi-exclusive leads and you're going down to $8 per lead, then the cost per acquisition goes even lower, and you really want to stress that and sell the clients on that vision, right? These are also great to give to sales agents earning hourly and bonus. I know I've been over that, but I can't stress it enough. It's huge. You can get each agent with 5 leads a day, and not only are they busy, but by the time it gets to day 4 and there's 20 leads in the pipeline, there's enough leads for them to do follow-up with, because there's a lot of follow-up in SEO sales. So we want to make sure that typically a client will give 5 leads a day to each agent if they're doing semi-exclusive. So that's semi-exclusive. Um, those are the main points. Now let's move on to exclusive. Exclusive, as the name implies, is sent to one company. Typically, clients can expect 3 to 10 per week, and again, this fluctuates depending on lead volume and client demand, right? So if we have a huge week of leads and tons of leads are coming in, we're going to feed them as quickly as we possibly can because they reorder quicker, they're happier, and also we make more money and they make more money. Now, sometimes there might just be a huge spike in clients that signed up that week and volume stays roughly the same as it was the week before. So it's just best to let your clients know that it fluctuates. They will be completely accepting with you if you're just upfront about the delivery. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. Always be as realistic as possible. They will still buy from you, and the relationship will go a lot better. Average close rate on these is about 5 to 6%. So what's that? That's about 1 out of 15 and 1 out of 20. Now that's an average, not a guarantee. Sometimes you can have a client close a deal on lead number 7. Other times it might be to lead number 37, but that's what the law of averages is all about, right, guys? It's the law of averages. Biggest tenet in sales. Again, these are 24 to 36 business hours fresh. So let's get to the main selling points here. First of all, as you can imagine, they're the only company speaking with that prospect. So there's not another company saying, hey, look, we can sell you an SEO package for cheaper. Not saying that's an objection they can't overcome, but it's just an objection that they don't have to deal with. Close deals with less prospects, right? So with the semi-exclusive leads, we're getting a lower cost per acquisition. With exclusive leads, even though the cost per acquisition, the amount of money they need to spend to bring on a client, goes a little bit higher, what they're getting in exchange is that they have to spend less time. So instead of going through 50 or even 40 prospects to close a deal, now we're doing that in 15 to 20 leads. It's a little bit more money, but you're trading money for time. So that's why these are great for top closers or buyers who will be doing the sales or closing themselves, right? So they don't feel the emotional reaction every single time that they have to keep dialing and dialing and dialing and dialing. That's what they have people that they're paying hourly plus bonus to do, so they don't have to. With that said, I've signed up clients before who actually liked the semi-exclusives and did a really great job with them and preferred them over the exclusive. So it's something that's generally the case, but not always. So remember that, and always keep an open mind when selling to them. If they say that they want to try one type or another, let them try it. We can always split test different things. Aged leads. Aged leads, these are some of my favorite leads, and they'll be some of your favorite leads. So what's an aged lead? An aged lead is a company that's made an inquiry 30 plus days ago, right? 30 plus days ago, they made an inquiry. Now, when we get a lead and allocate it to either exclusive or semi-exclusive, that lead does not get resold for 30 days. But after 30 days, which is typically the amount of time that they really should have closed this client by, or at least 85 or 90% of the time, that gets resold is aged. So why would somebody buy old leads? Well, first of all, these are great for large volume dialers and drip email campaigns. For instance, let's say somebody has a dialer who makes 150 to 200 calls a day. Now, they get these aged leads that they're getting for anywhere from 67 cents to $2 a piece, and they're dialing. They're taking this raw resource, which we call aged leads, and they're turning it into something great. Just an example, think about buying a rundown house in a great neighborhood. You put a little bit of money into it, and now you've developed this raw asset for less money than somebody that would have just bought the nice house. Same type of concept here. So this, again, it's turning a raw resource into a polished product. Great for new agents cutting their teeth, but it's also great for companies that are set up that have a lot of openers. If they're doing cold calls all day, then why shouldn't they buy aged leads that are going to have a way larger concentration of the type of people that are more likely to say yes, usually more receptive to a marketing message, more interested in hearing what's going on? Because let's face it, if somebody's been interested at some point in a service, it's much more likely that they'll be interested in again. Now, these aged leads, some of them have made a purchasing decision, some of them haven't. Some of these aged leads have made a purchasing decision and then decided that the SEO company that they went with wasn't doing such a great job, but it doesn't alleviate the fact that they're still interested in getting more traffic to their website, more leads, or getting the phone to ring. Who doesn't want the phone to ring for their business? So if these people needed the phone to ring before, they're probably going to be open to new ideas again. So what I want you to do is when you see somebody, a company that tells you that they have people doing opening, cold calling, large volume dialing, I want you to tell them how much companies love aged leads. We've had some companies that have bought every single aged lead that we have. They're great for high volume dialing, but then again, remember, if you run into somebody who is doing the calls themselves or just doesn't have the time resources, can aged leads still work? It can, but usually it's better for people doing high volume dialing. Large sales teams, right? If they have a large sales team, there's probably a lot of dialing going on. So let's go to the next thing. And this is important. This is how we generate leads. So here's what we do in a nutshell. We prospect companies via email as well as via their contact us form. And so we let them know that we can help them drive more traffic and customers to their website. And then we ask them if they'd like to be contacted by our consultants, which are our clients that we're selling the leads to. When companies respond with interest that they'd like to be contacted, they become a lead. Now, let me show you some examples of how this works. Now, these are from a few months ago, and this is just an outline of how we generated a lead. Now, Ernie Thompson is from our end. Hi, initially thought to contact with you at this number, but thought this might be a better way to start. Now, we can see that Ernie, in this email outreach, is saying that he thinks that there's some areas that our strategies might be a fit to their website, and this is what we've helped clients do over the past year. So he asks this company, how about a quick time to jump on a call? Now this company right here says, call me late in the morning or early afternoon. This person clearly wants to be called, so when our clients call them, they're talking to somebody who's already receptive in speaking with somebody. Now this is important because they're not doing the prospecting themselves or reinventing the wheel. We're getting them fresh people to talk to. Let's go to a different example. In this instance, similar thing. Initially thought to connect with you at this number, but thought this might be a better way to start. There were some things I noticed, so on and so forth, that we could help with. What would be a good time tomorrow to jump on a call? Monday afternoon better, after 2. This person, can you give me more details? What type of plan do you have? Right? Now notice that our email outreach was a little bit different, but it's basically saying the same thing, right? Same thing. If you could just take a look and see what this says, when this person responds back and asks for more details, they know that they're going to get contacted by somebody who is expecting to talk about their online marketing, getting more customers and traffic through their website. This person, please send me some methods you think could work to generate more leads for Voyage. I'm interested in learning more. We can schedule a call. Please provide some ideas of pricing of your services. Okay, so this person over here is also interested in getting more information. Let's just check out one last more. Again, please call me. So what better thing could our clients ask for than to have a steady supply of these types of companies who are interested in talking to them? So that's what we do for them. The more of these people we get to them, the more companies that they open, the more opportunities they create. And the more opportunities that create, guess what happens? More deals. Our clients make money, and because they make money, they come back and spend more money with us, and we make money. It's a great thing. So let's scroll down to here. How are leads delivered? Leads are delivered via spreadsheet where you get their company name, contact name, phone number, email address, website, comments, city, state, who they responded to. Now, exclusive leads come also with a screenshot of this. So if this was an exclusive lead, the customer would actually see everything that went on here. And the reason we do that is because the more the customer sees, the more that they'll know exactly what happened to facilitate that lead and the more successful they're going to be. A lot of other companies are very subversive with how they generate their leads, we try to be as upfront as possible because at the end of the day, the more successful clients are, the more successful you'll be and will be. Other general information. What is your lead replacement policy? So, guys, from time to time, there will be leads that, for whatever reason, get through the system, and this happens in any channel of lead generation that either just don't remember being contacted or for some reason we got them incorrect information. So let's just read over this really quickly, guys. It is inevitable from time to time, invalid leads may come through our system for one reason or another. An invalid lead meets one of the following definitions. There is an invalid contact information that interferes with their ability to conduct a sale. So we give them a wrong number, we're not able to get them a right number. Obviously, we will replace that. 2, the contact is in no way interested in discussing anything related to internet marketing or their website. Maybe they contacted us by accident, or maybe they just don't remember contacting us. Now, to contrast this, an invalid lead is not somebody who says, well, I'm interested, but I just have a really small budget. Sorry, Charlie, that's still a lead. Number 2, a prospect who only just wanted more information. Oh, well, I just wanted more information, but I'm not ready right now. That's still a lead. We can't replace that. So just be clear on that. If a client asks or you need to communicate that to them. Our lead replacement policy is very fair, but it's also not a sucker's policy, if that makes sense. So what's your procedure for replacing invalid leads? To obtain credit for an invalid lead, we just have the client present it within 24 business hours. Usually we'll be a little bit lenient on that point, considering that they're asking to replace a reasonable amount of leads that fall into about the averages. Now, if they want leads replaced all the time, obviously that's something that we're going to have to do due diligence in, because if they're asking for double the replacements that most clients are asking for, there's obviously a reason that's happening. So every claim for an invalid lead, just they need to tell us what went on and why it fits our policy. Again, if necessary, we'll conduct our due diligence and we'll determine if the lead's invalid. Usually, we'll be pretty accepting of lead replacements, again, as long as they fall into the average percentage that most clients are asking for replacements. But obviously, if it goes too far beyond the scope of normal, then we're going to have to look into it. Are leads refundable? No. Leads are not refundable, because when somebody puts in an order, there's a lot of resources that are front loaded that we need to cover the costs. Leads are not going to be refundable no matter which lead generation vendor you go through in any vertical. But and this is almost never an issue, but just something that you should know to know. If you just read this, there are obviously, as I said, costs involved in generating leads. So once there's an order, obviously, unless it's an extenuating circumstance, there's typically not refunds. Anyhow, guys, I think we covered a lot of stuff, and I think if you rewatch this video and look through the documents, you'll really have a good idea of what our lead generation process constitutes. We'll also go over some more advanced stuff in other videos, but I think this is a really good primer on getting started, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.